is no gym for your face. There is no gym for stupid. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. Eric Adams absolutely should resign. To start impeaching federal judges. Posted a picture of himself in a crown like a child would. I don't know what you know about civics. Probably nothing. Sitting Supreme Court justices that are taking bribes actually called people out for being modern-day Nazis, and I could not be more supportive of this. Speaking truth to this ridiculous nonsense, incredible amount of moron stupidity. Now I'm going to have to bleep that. Like, I actually have my degree in psychology. I'm at the point where I just don't care. Like, I don't know how many red flags you need. Mental health from the Hard Rock Lunchbox. Kill the first 20 minutes of this show. Anybody else tired of just hearing me talk?
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings, salutations. Welcome to the Hard Rock Lunchbox. If you're watching on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome to the top 20. We are still, despite my best efforts, stuck somewhere in the end to middle of February. It is a remarkably still cold February 20th, 2025. I have been told by scholars and experts that February will indeed end soon, but nobody seems to officially know when. I am just hating literally everything about this month. Its mere existence is the root of all of everything that is wrong in my life, and I am just so over it. I want to go back to April and May, just where it was safe. I'd run that through, say, November. November's good, and then we'll tolerate Christmas. But I think we should all be done collectively with where we're at now in February. But man, it is cold. It's cold, like inside, like in my soul. It is cold all the time. I have not had a worthwhile walk in 3 to 4 weeks, and I will say, it's showing. I am definitely taking a beating stress-wise and physically from that. So if anybody's in the same boat as me, like, we are brothers and sisters in arms in this fight against February. Not even the single greatest threat to us currently, but it is one that I can also do absolutely nothing about. So what I can do, however, some light housekeeping. There is a brand new Top 20 out today. It's actually appropriate titled Another February. You could have gone with Yet Another February or My God, Another February, 3 question marks, but Another February really captures it pretty great. And I talk about like how I'm really just trying to do my best work, and like also how that's just words, because I'm clearly not doing anybody's best work. But I also do talk about posting on Blue Sky, NyQuil comas, and more. So please check that out. I am behind on responding to comments. That is not, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me and my inability to get stuff done. Also, I am super, super behind on everything in BIMP world. I have just not had since I haven't been walking, I really haven't had a chance to really listen. But they do, they're unlocking your potential, embrace change, and evolve, plus whiskey. Whiskey always makes everything better. Let's see. Pillow Paradise or Rest of Slack. How many is too many? With Plastic Rhino. I think Plastic Rhino is probably a band. I don't know. Again, I'm super, super behind. But that's what's going on. Over in BIMP world, you probably know better than me, so maybe you should do this part of the show, and you can tell me what's going on over there. I should probably just make Mikey just give me a commercial every week and tell me what's going on the show so I can just play it, because he'll probably do a better job than me. But if they're anything like me over at BIMP, and they are, they definitely don't have the extra time to do that kind of stuff, so probably not. We'll just keep trucking forward. Not to get, I don't feel like talking politics today, but I do want to point out that Eric Adams absolutely should resign as the New York City mayor. By the way, there's been a lot of false reporting in the media, and I myself believed this until I dug a little deeper and got the true information about what's happening. Governor Hochul cannot summarily just remove Eric Adams. That is not true. So when you're hearing that in the media, don't think that it's true, because it isn't. There is way more of a story. If you're interested at all, you can check out what Lawrence O'Donnell had to say about it. I found it to be interesting and fascinating that everybody else seems to be getting it so wrong, and yet there is black letter of the law, and that is something I truly believe in. Like, you can hear all the spin in the world that you want, but like, you can also read the laws. Yeah, sometimes you can't really understand what it says, but we do have scholars that do understand those things, and that's why things get interpreted by the courts. There's a lot of people pushing back on what the federal judges have been doing against the Trump administration, and it's not based in any legal grounds, and you know that to be true because Republicans in Congress actually put forth a bill to start impeaching federal judges that aren't doing what they want. I don't know what you know about civics, probably nothing since they don't teach it anymore, which is very apparent when you speak to pretty much anybody on the online world. You can't do that. Federal judges are appointed for life, and they can only be impeached by severe abuse of their power and corruption. And if you're not going to remove the sitting Supreme Court justices that are taking bribes and not recusing themselves for cases in which they are personally attached to the people that they are ruling over, then you can't remove federal judges for doing actually their job, and way less anything egregious that the Supreme Court is doing. So that's some information for you, too. Also, Dumb Don posted a picture of himself in a crown like a child would, referring to himself as the king. He says he has killed congestion pricing. That has also not happened yet. He's just got one say in a 3-level tier of what does happen with congestion pricing, and it really will probably be determined by Governor Hochul, and if she has any balls whatsoever, she will stand up to this, so I'm hoping she does. In other really great political news, and this is probably going to be controversial because a lot of people don't particularly care for him, we are fully expecting Andrew Cuomo to announce that he is running for mayor of New York City, and to be perfectly honest, I could not be more supportive of this. I know a lot of people have issues with him. There have been some sexual allegations of sexual misconduct. First of all, absolutely nothing compared to what has been leveled against the sitting president of the United States, for starters. But also, a lot of those cases were actually thrown out. In fact, he countersued against one of them and is probably going to win that case. There's a lot of people complaining about what happened with old people in nursing homes, and I have a very particular take on that based on everything that I was seeing and hearing and reading straight from that time period, because we were all alive during COVID, so we all know what was actually happening. And most of those nursing homes were the places where they were the ones that were at fault, not the governor. So I firmly believe that Andrew Cuomo is probably the future of the Democratic Party. If it's not going to be him, it damn well better be the governor of Illinois, because that dude is doing some really good work. And in his State of the State address just recently, he actually called people out for being modern-day Nazis. And what we really need in this country is people with balls enough to start speaking truth to this ridiculous nonsense that's going on in our government. And that's what I try and do here. Even though I really do try and avoid it as much as possible, I am going to have to sort of start taking some mental health respites from my arguing with the incredible amount of moron stupidity that is going on in the world, because you just can't reason with stupid, and that is true. You can't fix it. Like, there is no gym for your face. There is no gym for stupid. I mean, school was supposed to do that, but now without a Department of Education, I'm not holding my hopes up high. So I think that's going to be it for me in terms of speaking about anything political, at least for now, unless something happens in the next 2 hours. And of course, with an administration like this, that is entirely possible, because, you know, for people that don't like government in their lives, they seem to be in our lives a whole lot just by constantly flooding the zone with their and now I'm going to have to bleep that, man. I have to remember to bleep that. Hopefully I do remember to bleep that, because I don't want to get any more strikes against me on YouTube, because Google runs YouTube, and Google is firmly in the pocket of kissing that ring. So anyway, that's enough. That's enough. Anybody else tired of just hearing me talk? I mean, Jesus Christ. It's just, and I feel like I'm saying the same thing all the time. So maybe we just try something new. And I did actually come here today, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about mental health, mental illness, and just sort of my observances over the past, well, in my case, decades, but really over the past year, as I've been doing much more, cognitive behavioral therapy and stuff like that, which, by the way, is moving so goddamn slow, you'd think it's February. But yes, I feel like there's a lot of people in my orbit, in my world, and in the world in general that suffer from some form of mental illness, some shade of it, and there's different things out there. Now, full disclaimer, I actually have my degree in psychology. It's been something that has interested me my entire life, and even though I don't practice it, it wasn't for lack of desire to practice it. It truly was a financial decision. I did not have any money to go to grad school. At the time, I was an independent adult. When I graduated from college, I actually had to sever all my financial stuff with my father because he actually made too much money and didn't, he wasn't paying any sort of meaningful child support, and he certainly wasn't supporting me through school. But also when I was looking to apply to grad schools, it was made very clear to me by my parents, my mother specifically, that if I did go off to grad school, I was looking to go to Chapel Hill at the time, that there would be no home for me to come back to. So I made the decision to not go because I thought it was important to actually have a home. And honestly, it's probably a huge regret, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, I have a degree in psychology. I was excellent at it, especially in the clinical realms, in terms of running studies and the actual biology of psychology. So it's been a topic that has fascinated me my entire life. I did not really deal with any sort of major depressive disorder until I got older. I had problems for sure, and some of those things that I'm unpacking now in regular therapy sessions are part of trying to get to sort of undermine all the other exhibitions of those problems and the way that they would sort of express themselves in day-to-day life. But I think it's important to sort of remind people, and this is not for my benefit because I'm at the point where I just don't care. I'm not somebody that just I have depression. I'm not that and excuse all my behavior. I am definitely somebody that takes ownership of those things and understands that my failings and my flaws and the way I handle myself are not necessarily the fault of other people, right? My trauma predates most people I know today. They just do. Probably with the exception, I guess, of my sisters, right? Because they've just been around that long. But it probably predates them. I have a lot of, really interesting nonsense that goes on in my early childhood that has caused and shaped a lot of this. So I have these tendencies. And what I've been realizing over the past maybe 6 months to a year is that while people can indeed suffer with mental illness, and this is not just depression. Truth be told, I have a diagnosis of major depressive disorder. I've had it for years, and it's just something that is about me and the person that I am. But this is true of people with obsessive compulsive disorders, and I'm not talking about people that just deal in the low grade. I mean, that's a serious problem too, but I'm real obsessive, people that cannot function in the world because of their OCD. You have, what's the IED? It's something explosive disorder. These are real things that really do happen to people, and it usually has something to do either with wiring physically, but more often it has more biochemical causes and effects, dealing with your dopamine, your serotonin, and all the big scary ones that you hear about, from pharmaceutical ads and nutritional commercials and stuff like that. These things do exist, but I think what's important is while everybody gets sad or did I lock that, or just gets super angry because their frustration is built up like a toddler, those things happen and are part of the human condition. I think sometimes what gets lost in real mental illness, and this is the connection I was making recently, it surfaces and serves very much like an addiction. Now, I am blessed, for lack of a better word, to not only be, have clinical mental illness, but I'm also an addict. I have addictive tendencies. There's reasons I do not gamble. I do have an incredibly hard time with alcohol. I have an incredibly hard time with most drugs, actually. And funny enough, the reason I don't get high hardly ever is because it doesn't do anything for me, so I don't have an addiction to it, which I think probably goes a really long way to, pot just not being like any sort of scheduled narcotic, so it's probably good that it's been declassified as such, at least in our state. But what I've noticed is that those compulsions that stem from those addictions, like the complete wiping of any good sense of any of that frontal lobe, the police officer that sort of protects you from doing these things and making these mistakes and controlling these impulses, is incredibly similar, at least in my experience, is incredibly similar to the way these mental illness episodes sort of present. And what I would like people to understand, people that are suffering with these sort of things, and I do not want to ever remove accountability. Like, if you know this, Taylor Tomlinson has a great joke about, you have mental illness and you struggle with these things, but if you're not doing the work to sort of get better or protect others from it, then you're culpable in that way. So as long as you're doing the work and still aware that it's a problem that's stemming from you, then what I'm about to say, I hope alleviates some of it, because I don't want to tell you that it's out of your control, but I also want to let you know that more often than not, the flare-ups of these mental conditions are beyond your control. It is something that you are physically incapable of maneuvering around from time to time. And not that that's going to afford you or anyone any sort of peace in those things that are happening to you. Let it serve at least as some sort of relief of the shame and guilt and further depressive episodes that come because you're unable and unable to do these things, to manage these things properly. I do not get mad at addicts that are addicts, right? I get mad at them because if they deny that they're an addict, first of all, like I don't know how many red flags you need. But the ones that deal with their addiction and know that they have an addiction, they have a choice to, am I going to fix this? Am I going to work on this? Or am I just going to let it run wild? That's a problem. And that's why, anytime you ever see it dramatized on TV, it always starts with that, admitting you have a problem and asking for help, right? So once you've come over those hurdles, then I think it's sort of time to allow yourself just the respite of knowing that some of these things really are out of your control. Please do continue to do the work to make yourself better, because everybody around you will benefit from that work, but more importantly, you will benefit from that work. And if the quest here in our time on this planet is some level of happiness or even some level of just basic contentment, then that work is a noble effort, and it should always be taken upon you. And what I would say to others that experience these from other people, I am fortunate enough in my life that I have people that are incredibly understanding of the way that I am and are supportive to me and supportive of me, almost to a fault. I feel horrible for some of the stuff that I put people through. And that's what I'm talking about. The amount of time that I feel like I am just sub-basement because of things that I have done that have affected other people is not helping me any. And that's why I'm trying to give myself this bit of a breather to sort of be more accepting. Not okay with it, but be more accepting of the fact that I am doing my best. But it's sometimes just really insurmountable. It just kind of is. So I'm super grateful for the people around me that are understanding and supportive of that. But for anybody that's, tired of it, or, just doesn't understand or can't understand why I am the way that I am, or why other people around them are the way they are, I would like you to just hold within you just that nugget of truth that sometimes the people that are doing this and acting this way, they really cannot help it. And more often than not, they would give anything to be able to help it and prevent it, because it just makes everything worse for them. So, yeah, that little PSA on mental health from the Hard Rock Lunchbox. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. What it does do is kill the first 20 minutes of this show. And I think we can all agree that that is a winning combination. So I'm going to get on with some music because it is time for the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And as always, we start with some local music. I picked up this brand new one from Sharetta that just sort of ended up out in the world, even though Pablo knows he should have sent it to me directly. Don't worry, pal. I got you covered. It's brand new from Sharetta. It's called On Top of the World. Moment I honestly didn't think was going to come again from this band, but here we are. And I, for one, am here for it.